We're back on Nemo Nation with another fast-paced FASTPORT Studios half hour.
Woo! With Dave Nemo himself at the FASTPORT
scared
Studios.
me.
I'm sorry, I do
didn't
that.
see you over there.
I'm hiding behind the screen. Take it away, Dave.
Goodness gracious, Nemo Nation on the road and on the internet. We are on the continent. We thought we were swimming for another island when we left satellite radio, and we found out it wasn't an island, it was a continent. And on that continent is Renee Amar, who is, of course, the chief cook and bottle washer probably at Louisiana. Ain't that always the way?
It certainly is.
The bigger the title, the more work there is behind the scenes.
That's exactly it, yeah.
So how long have you been doing that?
I have been with the truckers now for about 5 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
You've been with us 3 or 4 times over the last 5 years.
I have. One of the last times I was on with you was talking about the toll over the Lake Charles Bridge.
That is correct. Yeah. Well, you came in from Baton Rouge to join us here in the FASTPORT studio.
Yes, I did.
So-
It was a relatively easy drive in, which I can't always say when I come from Baton Rouge to New Orleans, but today the traffic guides were smiling down upon me.
Fantastic. Yeah, this is a real historic location. Trucking Radio with Charlie Douglas and the Road Gang started about 11 blocks away on North Rampart Street.
Okay.
Right across from the Municipal Auditorium, if you can picture that at all.
Yeah.
Right at the French Quarter.
Yep.
And then here we are. There are several different names for this little neighborhood right here.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just going to call it Esplanade Avenue.
It's a fantastic neighborhood, too.
It really is.
With all the tree-lined streets. I love it. Yeah.
And this is where Edgar Degas did some painting.
Yes, he did. And I actually love his paintings, which is ironic. So I was here at this house earlier this year scouting out a new venue for our seafood gala that we're going to move back to New Orleans.
Yeah, fantastic.
So, yeah, it's a phenomenal house.
Can I get invited?
Absolutely.
You heard that, Andre?
Got it, locked and loaded.
Verified, trust and verified.
Oh, goodness, fantastic.
Confirmed.
Fantastic. LMTA goes back to 19. It's so weird. The worst time to start something is like a depression. So some of the biggest trucking, J.B. Hunt, Martin, Schneider, they all start during the depression, like the worst possible time. Most of the trucking associations around the country started in the 1930s.
I've never really thought about that aspect of it, Dave. Yeah, that's very interesting, right? But a lot of times when things are hard economically, similar to what we've experienced over the last year, I know some of my truckers have had a hard time just because of the way the nation's economy has been moving. That's usually the time when you really do need an advocate.
One of the things that and it came up this morning, it comes up whether you want it to or not, and we're not going to go here, but one of the recurring things in trucking that hits us every day is parking.
Yes. Because
parking is at the core. It's the crux of several different branches of safety concerns.
Yep.
Sleep.
Yep.
You can't sleep if you're not parked.
That's right.
You can't sleep if you are parked, but you're afraid somebody's going to kill you.
Yep.
Which has happened, which is one of the reasons we're talking about parking. So you have all of that going on, and we can continue with parking.
Yep.
From your point of view, though, here in Louisiana at least, living next door to Mississippi, which is interesting because we're going to talk about insurance a little bit here.
Yep.
Insurance is the crux of so many problems in trucking, but they seem to be more problematic here in Louisiana than some of the other states.
Absolutely. I often tell people when they ask me what my top 3 issues are for my members, it's insurance, and then we have insurance, and then thirdly, we have insurance.
Of all things.
Yeah. It's gotten to the point where it has made it difficult for my smaller truckers, especially to operate. If you have 5, 6, 7 trucks and you have to go out on the market and buy insurance. I get the phone calls when they're probably about a month away from renewal from members and non-members just because my cell phone is on the interwebs and available for everyone, and they can't afford their renewals. They're exponentially increasing year over year. It's scary.
This is not so much on a personal note, but it did happen to us. We had a long time relationship with an insurance at home, personal car insurance. And we were told, our broker said, well, got a couple of other insurance companies for you because the one you do business with is no longer writing in Louisiana.
Yep.
So that's trouble for regular folks, four-wheelers.
Correct.
So we got another company and all of that, so we have insurance. But in trucking, there is a lot more to that number 18 than meets the eye, so to speak, in terms of insurance. And I have some bills here in Louisiana that I printed out because these are some of your main concerns. But can we start with the governor?
Yeah.
In terms of your statement about the promise to sign the Senate Bill 111.
Yeah.
Kind of walk through that with us.
And Dave, if you don't mind, I wouldn't mind going back
Go
just
back.
a little
please.
bit, just to go a little higher level, because I think it's hard for regular folks to understand sometimes. Why are 18-wheelers on billboards? Why are 18-wheelers targeted as far as lawsuits are concerned? And I don't think people fully embrace and can understand the fact that you and I have insurance on our car. It's probably $15,000, $30,000, maybe $25,000 or $50,000, right? We get these policies, they're usually like 15, 30, 15, 25, 50, 25. That is an expression of the limits on our insurance policy. $25,000, $50,000, $30,000, right? So if an attorney is going to target a car policy for something, they typically are going to make 30 to 40% off of whatever limit they can get from the court system. And so you can do the math in your head, right, to figure out $25,000, what 30 or 40% of that looks like. The reason that truckers are ultimately the target, and while we're on billboards across the state, is because our minimum limit for any particular truck just to get on the road is $750,000, right? If you carry hazmat, which obviously is hazardous materials in the state of Louisiana, they oddly define it. So things that may not even really be hazardous, the government considers hazardous. Those trucks are carrying about $5 million worth of insurance. And so if I'm a lawyer that does that type of work, you could easily see why we are the targets on the road, because 40% or 30% of $1 million is a heck of a lot more than it is of $50,000. And so I just like the, regular citizens and the general public to understand that this is the reason that we're the target. It's just because we have really big insurance limits.
And I don't want to go too far off in the. You've put us in the weeds, and we'll go way into. No. I'm going to go way into the field just for a moment, because there's another added thing to that. About 3, 4, 5 years ago, there was a move in Congress to raise that from the 750,000 to make that like I think it was 4.2 million was the first figure that came out, and then it got adjusted and everything. But to go from under $1 million to just over 4 million, wow!
Can you imagine?
And then, as it turned out, there was a lot of collusion, I guess, between one of the senators that brought this up was an actual trial lawyer himself. But
shocker.
Yeah. But all of that. So, but to your point, whoa! If they're getting 40% of 750, 40% of 4 million, now we're talking real money here. Let's really go after these trucks. So there is the law of unintended consequences plays its hand here.
That's exactly it. My members often talk about 10 or 15 years ago. It's just part of our culture in the state now. It's so ingrained, but they used to, maybe ding someone's mirror in a parking lot, these truckers will get out and they'll, go to the person and say, hey, sorry, I hit your car. Can I write you a check, replace your mirror, move on about their business? Might cost them $500 or $1,000. That same exact incident now, there's a lawsuit filed, and we have these things that we'll talk about in a little bit called bodily injury claims, where they have soft tissue damage, and I'm using air quotes for people who can't see. And so what used to be a $600 check they would write might be a $60,000 claim on their insurance now. And so that's what people really need to understand about the problem, is that all these things that are being filed against the insurance companies, those insurance companies, the lizard and the cavemen and all them, and in the trucking community, we have different ones, right? We don't always have your run of the mill like we have State Farm. But what happens is that once that insurance company has paid out so many of those claims and they can't really make money in the state of Louisiana anymore, we go back to your issue that you said just a few minutes ago. They'll just close up shop and they don't have to write here. And so Dave Nemo is left without insurance when he's been with this company for maybe 15 or 20 years. He now has to go out and shop and hope to find another company before, or you end up with our state's Citizens, which is our insurance of last resort. Yes.
Or go to Mississippi.
I cannot lie to you. That has definitely been what some of our truckers have done.
There's a reason they're going to Mississippi.
That's exactly it. They may not be safer drivers in the state of Mississippi, but their insurance is about half. So if I have a small trucker here, his one truck is going to cost him $15,000 in the state of Louisiana for his premium. He can take that same exact truck with the same exact driver, and that premium in Mississippi will be cut in half, about $7,500. So you're committing malpractice if you're a business owner and you're not trying to find your cheapest rates.
Yeah, that is amazing. That's a geographical conundrum for us here in Louisiana.
For sure.
But overall, and you talk to all of the other folks at all of the other associations around the country. Are we unique here in Louisiana in terms of how bad it is? It's egregious here. How egregious is it in Iowa, Nebraska, North Carolina, Oregon? What are other folks around the country telling you about their situations? Yeah.
And what's scary to me is that we are relatively unique, especially when it comes to our commercial insurance. Obviously, we are in Hurricane Alley. We have catastrophes. We flooded at our home in 2016. And so we understand that there are, weather issues that are going to happen in Louisiana. You can't really control that, right? But when it comes to our court system and litigation, we are absolutely an outlier. And just as you mentioned, Mississippi, you can cross the state line to Mississippi. You can do that in Texas, Arkansas, Alabama, any of the very close surrounding states, and you'll find a lot cheaper insurance. And largely that is due to the litigation environment. And so we even have higher litigation issues in the state of Louisiana than the entire state of New York.
Wow.
So we always love to point to the coast, right? The West Coast and the East Coast, and say, we don't want to be like California or New York. But in this instance, it's pretty bad when Louisiana is worse than those states. Yeah.
Well, we are a coast.
Yeah, no, we are a coast, absolutely. Just an absolute different part of the coast, right?
Can't coast
the Gulf of America, that's right.
I have some bills here in Louisiana that I thought I just kind of throw you the number. No, I won't do that. Well, I will. House Bill number 450. And I did not know what this meant, the Housley presumption.
Correct.
I don't know if that sounds like the name of a new series on Apple TV or what. The Housley presumption. The Housley presumption is I'm going to read this.
Yeah.
It's a legal doctrine currently assumes that injuries from accidents are caused by the accident itself, placing the burden of proof on the defense to disprove the fact that the accident caused the injury. The bill seeks to shift this burden back to the plaintiffs, requiring them to prove that their injuries were indeed caused by the accident. House Bill 450.
Crazy, huh?
Yeah, the Housley presumption.
And so I would love to mention the fact that over the last couple of years, we've got this new crop of lawmakers that have shown up to the state capitol. And proudly, I can say the truckers were very involved in a lot of elections a couple of years ago. And they started 2 years ago in earnest to bring bills that they felt like Louisiana is an outlier. And then eventually, if we have time, we can get around to the bills that the governor, he vetoed a bill last year and he vetoed a bill this year. But they brought bills that they thought were common sense. Is Louisiana an outlier? Or there are 35 states doing certain things that Louisiana is not doing? Well, lo and behold, Housley is one of those issues where in 49 other states, this presumption does not exist. If you get in a wreck, whether it's a car wreck or a truck wreck, it should not be presumed that your injury is from that wreck. And pretty much simply, that is what that bill boils down to. And if you make this statement to a regular person, Joe Q citizen on the road is what I usually like to call him, and you tell them that in Louisiana, our court systems presume that your injuries are from this wreck, I think normal people would tell you that seems nonsensical, right? And so we had to pass a bill, in fact, 2 years in a row, to overturn this presumption that the courts have made. And so the Housley presumption, thankfully, was passed this year, signed into law by the governor, and we don't have to be an outlier any longer in the state of Louisiana, thank goodness.
Well, we're going to keep our parishes.
Yeah. Of course we are, with our rich Catholic history, yes. I love when people call us counties, yes. I have to remind them
I know.
all the time, yes.
So House Bill 450 is passed, and that's good news.
That's exactly it.
For the trucking
Yes,
industry.
it is.
Okay.
Yep.
Then we have House Bill 434, and that is the no pay, no play law.
Yep. And so, and I can tell you the other side of this as well. So I think most of us, again, just common sense, feel like if you don't purchase insurance and you get in a wreck, you shouldn't be able to recover from the other person's insurance, right? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. And so we used to have a no pay, no play provision on the books, but it was it had a limit of $15,000. And obviously over the years, those limits, at times can be eroded. And so essentially what they did was raise that limit up to $100,000. And so after $100,000, you can recover, but you've got to get up to that kind of high water mark. If you ask my trucking company owners or my truckers, they'll tell you if you don't have insurance, you shouldn't be able to recover, period.
Yeah.
But as often we have heard, there is sausage being made at the Capitol, and nobody wants to see how the sausage is being made, right? And so that was one of those bills where there had to be compromise on it in order to get it over the finish line. But essentially, that's what it boils down to. We, again, looked across other states and said, what are other states doing? There are absolute bars from recovery in other states, but I think the state of Louisiana felt like this would just be a good compromise.
Got it. And that went into effect last month.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, some of these laws, and I would be lying if I told you specifically which ones, some of them had provisions where they went into effect over the last month, and then some won't go into effect until January of next year. So these probably, what we were really trying to do, Dave, was make Louisiana, at least as far as our litigation environment goes, look somewhat similar to other states, in the hopes that insurance companies would look at us and say, I want to go down and take on the risk in Louisiana because maybe I don't feel as exposed anymore. And so that was our mindset going into last year's session and this year's session. How can we make Louisiana's legal climate, our litigation environment, look a little more similar to Texas and Mississippi's?
Yes, because there's an ancillary situation that is gaining momentum, and that's the ports again.
Yep.
So there's going to be a lot more opportunity for trucking here in the fairly near future.
Yep.
That we need to pave the way for.
And I'm sure you've heard over the last couple of years all the competition we've had with the Mobile port.
Oh, yeah.
And so just so people don't understand, we love our rich culture in Louisiana. We love being called parishes. There's so much about our state that we love. But when it comes to the business environment, you really don't want to be a sore thumb that sticks out. When you have a powerhouse like Texas, which I always say is really its own country, right? Sitting right next to you.
I think that too, by the way.
Yeah, oh, absolutely. Everything's bigger in Texas. How many times do we have to hear it? My parents were from Texas. And so, but I often hear from my truckers about the fact that they're helping to build plants in Texas. So they might be housed or headquartered in the state of Louisiana, but they are literally picking up loads and taking those loads to Texas because Texas is growing economically, which means all their people have really good jobs. And that means that they're contributing to the economy, right? And so that goes for the ports, it goes for the oil and gas industry. You know, we're really just the middle guy for all those industries.
Got a couple more bills I want to talk about. You mentioned that one will go into effect, and that's the one about cameras. But I'm going to save that till last. Here.
Yep. Okay.
The other one, and boy, this is, really a hot topic now, and that is unauthorized aliens.
Yep.
So we have a new rule about prohibiting recovery of certain damages by unauthorized aliens. That is House Bill 436. It does include pain and suffering and some other non-economic losses, but if you are a unauthorized alien, you will not be allowed to recover for other special damages. Such damages include medical bills, lost wages, property damage, things like that.
Yeah.
So that is in effect now.
Yeah, and this just very similar to the last bill of no pay, no play. I think there's a sense of fairness that everyday citizens walking on the street, just going to work every day, doing their job, views things through that lens, right? And I think this is one of those, just as if you don't purchase car insurance to be able to be a part of that market, if you are an illegal alien and you've come into this country not by legal means, you're not trying to do anything legally, how are you benefiting from our system? How are you benefiting from my insurance? There was a lot of discussion on this bill during session. It actually kind of surprised me. The modified comparative fault bill, which is a major shift in the way we think about litigation, I thought was going to be the most difficult bill for us to get out of Senate. This bill actually caused the most debate, which was interesting on the Senate floor. Ultimately, we were able to get it passed. But yeah, absolutely. Truckers believe that we need, and especially for truckers, I always think about how heavily regulated the trucking industry is by the FMCSA. And for people who don't know, we have thousands of regulations on us. And the more regulations, the more the trial bar loves it, right? Because it makes these areas real gray and confusing. Yeah, It makes it easier to sue us. But we do our dead level best on a daily basis to get on the roads every day and be safe. We just want to come home at night and put our head back on our pillow and be with our family, right? And so if we have to operate safely and legally, we think everybody else on the roadway should be doing the same thing.
Exactly. Which brings us to the cameras.
Yes.
Which will prove everything beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Yes.
This coming January 1st, 2026, House Bill 549 goes into effect. and that would offer a discount.
Yep.
Doesn't require cameras in trucks.
Correct.
And I know there was a little bit of confusion about that.
Yes.
No, this does not require anything, but it does give insurance companies an opportunity to discount your premiums if you have an inward-facing camera.
Yep.
Or is that an outward-facing?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And what I know about the camera market is that it's gotten to the point in Louisiana, especially with the insurance companies, that essentially if you want a policy with Dave's insurance company, Dave has pretty much been requiring that we install cameras in our trucks. So I think you're going to find very few and far between a trucker that does not have cameras in his truck, whether they're outward or inward. And mostly it's because of these accidents, right? You can literally turn on a camera. I see the videos all the time. People send them to me, disprove or prove those staged accidents that really started here in New Orleans on New Orleans East.
And Jimmy Mack really covered that for a couple of years.
Yeah.
He was in on that. Yeah.
And one of the ways that they finally got to the bottom of that issue was because of the cameras that truckers had on their trucks. You could literally see people pulling up on the side of them and what we call brake checking them, right? Doing a hard stop right in front of a truck that wasn't even necessarily going real fast. And so, yeah, it's cameras in trucks is a really big deal. I encourage every single trucker on the road to absolutely have cameras installed. Protect yourself.
The truth is the truth.
That's right.
Wow. Thank you for a lot of truth here. And I got to tell you, folks, I got notes over here. I showed her my notes. Renee knew all of this. She knew 436 before I even said the number. So, wow. I don't know if you want to know that much about insurance.
Correct. Yeah. Or the bill system or the legislature, right? Exactly.
Well, Kent, thank you. How thrilled we are to have you here in person. Thank you so much for coming and visiting.
Delightful. Thank you so much, Dave. We appreciate everything you do for truckers.
Renee Amar, and of course, she heads up the LMTA. I still love the old-fashioned names, too, the Louisiana Motor Truck Association.